Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your friend here, Raz's Retro, and I hope everyone is remaining retro. Today, we are doing the 10 video game questions. A big thank you to Retro Crisis, who tagged me on this. A lot of great YouTubers have taken part, and I really appreciate the fact that he tagged me, and I have the opportunity to take part in this. A lot of great questions, so we're gonna get straight into it. Before I do want to mention that you'll just see some video games in the back, various games. Might not match exactly what I'm saying, but I just wanted to have something there for you, so you don't have to actually just hear my annoying voice, right? You'll actually have something to look at. So we'll get straight right into it, and do stay for the whole video if you can, because I do have something special for you guys towards the end, which I think you might like. So, question number one: what sort of games do you like to play? Well, for me, I love all sorts of video games. I love my sports games, my beat 'em ups, my platformers, my racers. But my favorite all time has to be 2D fighting games. I like the modern fighting games as well, but especially 2D fighting games. They're just so fantastic. A lot of great memories with them. It's what I grew up with, and I'm always down to play a fighting game, even if it's a game that I've never played. Even if it's a game that I'm not good at. I always like the challenge that fighting games do pose. Sometimes they can be very, very difficult for sure. How much time do you spend playing video games? Well, for me, it's very hard to say. I can't give you an actual figure because it varies. It depends on the day and it depends on the week. But I can safely say not a lot. Some days I could play for 10 minutes, some days it could be 15, 20, maybe max an hour. There's even some. I remember there was one week actually. I was looking forward. I was thinking, I was like, okay, I'm gonna play some video games, or I'll try to play some video games. And that whole week, I just wasn't able to actually sit down and play some games. So it really varies. It's not like before, back in the day where you could play 5 hours or 6 hours. With adult life, as you all know, and responsibility does become quite difficult, but it varies. Do you think games can be educational? Most definitely, I think they can. Retro Crisis actually covered it quite perfectly. If I can try to give it in a nutshell, education, at least for me, at the end of the day, is for you to find the best version of yourself and to overcome whatever your task is. So what I mean by that is that if you're studying history, math, geography, political science, whatever the case is, you have a task, right? You need to try to pass that class. You need to try to do well in that class, and you need to try to absorb as much information as possible so you could use that knowledge in the future. Um, so really, when it comes to learning, it comes a lot to dedication. It comes a lot to thinking outside of the box, making mistakes, and all that good stuff. So the way I connect that with video games is that when you're playing a video game, a lot of times games are challenging. They're tough. They're not that straightforward. So you do have to think outside of the box. You do have to push yourself. You have to be determined. You have to fail. You have to not give up. So in a nutshell, that's how it connected to video games because that is really the key core of education. And like I said, Retro Crisis went into more details, which he perfectly covered, which I won't go into those details. I agreed 100% with what he said. But in a nutshell, that's how I would say video games can be educational. What don't you like about video games? Honestly, for me, the thing that really bothered me about video games was the very fact that on the Sega Genesis, when you want to play a game like Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat, which requires 6 buttons, you're only able to play with 3 buttons. Like it just made no sense whatsoever. I know after they made a 6 button controller that, was made by a third party, Hyperkin. But in all seriousness, I think the thing that bothers me the most about video games, this is more about like old school video games, and this is more like with Nintendo, at least with my experience. Is a lot of these games were very, very, very hard, like to the point where you could try like 100 times and you're not going to get any further than where you started. So when a game is like that brutal or that difficult, I don't like it. Obviously, games should be difficult; they should pose a challenge, but there should also be like some sort of it shouldn't be difficult to the point where you can't, no matter how much you try, like it's not going to change anything, right? There should be something that can help you along the way, some different tactic. some different, maybe way of playing the game, thinking outside of the box. But there's games that I've played, especially on, the original Nintendo, where it's like no matter what you do, there's no point. You're just gonna end up, dying at the exact same place where you started. How much do you spend on video games? Honestly, not a lot. I wouldn't be able to give a figure, but it's really not a lot. I pick up really if I like something, if I feel like it's special, and if it's at a good price. I'm not looking to spend, even if it's a special item, collector's edition, whatever the case is. Like I'm not looking to spend a lot. Back in the day, I'd spend more for sure, but now like I really try to pick up things that are special to me, like if the game is special or unique, and at the same time if it's actually on a special or a good price. What is your favorite console? This is very difficult because I have three consoles that are very dear to me, which is the Super Nintendo, the Nintendo 64, and the Xbox original. I know on my channel, I think I've talked quite a bit about the Nintendo 64, but if I had to pick one, I'd have to go with the Super Nintendo because essentially that was my first love, and there was just a lot of great games on it. And a lot of great memories with the Super Nintendo. So I'll have to go with the Super Nintendo, but Xbox original and Nintendo 64 are definitely up there for me. What is your favorite video game? I believe that's movie. Favorite video game movie. Oh, okay. Sorry, guys. I actually mixed it up. It was actually what is your favorite game? So this question is what is your favorite game? My apologies. Favorite game again. This is very tough because there's a lot of different games that I like on a lot of different consoles. A lot of games that I like on a particular genre. Uh, I'd have to, probably pick between these three, which would be either Super Street Fighter 2, The New Challengers, Super Double Dragon, or Contra 3, The Alien Wars. I have big amount of love for all three games that have been mentioned, and other games as well. But if I had to pick one, I'm gonna have to go with Super Street Fighter 2, The New Challengers. Um, Favorite video game movie? Uh, Same answer as Retro Crisis. Street Fighter 2, the animated movie, I mean, it just felt like a Street Fighter movie and it was just fantastic in every sense. And the Mortal Kombat movie, the original one, the live action one, that one was just epic as well. And again, it actually felt like I was watching a Mortal Kombat movie. A lot of times when it comes to video games and movies, for whatever reason, they just tend to get it wrong. It is really, really bad. Uh, who is your favorite video game character? So this one is very tough as well. But believe it or not, it's not somebody that you think will be very obvious for you. It is somebody from Street Fighter, but from Street Fighter 3. And ladies and gentlemen, it is the pride of England, Mr. Dudley. Dudley, I just always loved him, man. Just his look, just his persona, He's got the boxing gloves on, he's got the cup of tea, and he throws a rose at you, and he's a gentleman, and he's just so epic. Especially when he says, let's fight like gentlemen. For me, that's like just, I don't even know what that means, but, it's just a line that always stuck with me. Um, what is your least favorite type of games? I'm gonna have to go with RPGs. I just don't have the time for it, not the patience. So that's pretty much it. Those are my answers. I hope you enjoyed. And I would like to see Rampage Talk take part, Ask the Cheese, Retro Gamer Knee, John Bundy, and Nerd Life. So if you guys can, kindly do take part in this. Would like to hear what you guys have to say about this particular topic, these 10 questions. If anybody I did mention has already taken part, I do apologize in advance. But once again, big thank you to Retro Crisis for tagging me on this. I believe the original person that came up with this was Tony Fighter 2, if I'm not mistaken. So again, big shout out to him as well. That being said, I do stick around just for maybe 2-3 minutes. I do have a surprise for you guys in just a moment. Yes, people. Yes, people. Yes, people. Ale ale here with ahem ahem 60. Bits and bobs, yes, people, it is I, Mr. 16 Bits and Bobs, and I will take part in the 10 questions and give the proper answers, the answers that the people want to hear, the ones that the people need to know. Okay, what sort of games do you like to play? Well, obviously, anything that's Sega and Sonic. What a stupid question. Number two, how much time do you spend playing video games? Well, believe it or not, 16 minutes and 16 seconds. Do you think games can be educational? No, mate. Number four, what don't you like about video games? Well, anything that is not Sega, I don't like it. So that could be Nintendo, Xbox, PlayStation. If it's not Sega, it's not good. Because Sega does what Nintendo don't. There, I said it. What don't you like about Sorry about that. How much do you spend on video games? I don't spend any money because I work for Sega, so I get the games for free. Yes, Piper. What is your favorite console? Is this even a question to be asked? The best console made, the best console that was ever made, the Sega Mega Drive, or if you live in Canada like Razaz Retro, then the Sega Genesis. Is it true? Piper. What is your favorite game? Well, again, another silly question. Sonic 2. There is nothing that becomes even close to it. I mean, think about it. It's Sonic, but it's 2. Sonic times 2 equals 4. But rather, my answer is Sonic 2. Favorite video game movie? Well, obviously, it has to be the Sonic movie. There is nothing that can compare. Who is your favorite video game character? Obviously, the Sonic the Hedgehog. He is the greatest of all time. What is your least favorite type of game? Anything that is not Sonic. So it is I, your friend, 16 bits and bobs. Telling you to play Sonic, to play Sega, and enjoy life. Nintendo makes you miserable. Till the next time, take care and keep it on the flip side.